Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill. I am your e-recruiter back with you yet again for another fun virtual event. As always, I have some of my friends helping us behind the scenes, and of course, Director Lisa Perry, who will be helping us out here in just a quick second. Before we do jump into the presentation, though, let me go ahead and launch a quick poll. We would love to know where you are located tonight. So where are you tuning in from? And don't say your living room or a friend's house. We want to know what city you're located in, or at the very least, what part of the state. So we'll leave that up for a quick second. But now we will also get into some quick tips. You probably are familiar with Zoom, but in case you're not, in the lower left corner of your screen, you can adjust your audio settings there. If at any time you'd like to zoom into something we're showing you, which this may come in handy tonight as we share some demonstrations and some little forms with you, click on View Options in the upper portion of your window, and you can make those adjustments there. Of course, as I said, we are fully staffed behind the scenes with our content experts. They are here to get to your questions live. Now, we also will save some time at the end of our presentation to get to some of those live and on screen as well. So tonight, as you can see on your screen, we're going to be talking about the fall semester of 2025 and all of the next steps that you need to keep in mind. At this time, I'll go ahead and hand things over to my friend Lisa.
Thank you, Ricky. Good evening, everybody. What day is it? Happy Wednesday? Yes. Happy middle of the week. We made it. My name is Lisa Perry. I'm the director of our Students First Center, which is a unique feature at UC Merced. We are your campus one-stop. Our team is cross-trained in admissions, financial aid, registration, billing, and a few other things on campus. So we are the best place to start if you have a question and don't know where to go. We also are really good at referring you out as accordingly if it's something that's out of our area of expertise. Many of you may have already interacted with us. We have one phone number for all those offices, one kind of email form, one chat, and one in-person location. So that's the team of highly trained staff that are on here tonight with us. And my goal for this evening, or our goal, I should say, is to get you acquainted with next steps and kind of demystify what's next. So I know we have a mixed audience tonight. We've got some students who have already accepted their offer of admissions. We've got some students who are still considering. There's a few more days left. We've got some freshmen or first years, and we've got some transfers. So first of all, congratulations to all of you. I see those little happy icons going up. Congratulations on getting admitted for fall 2025. We are excited to have you all become part of our Bobcat family. So now let's take some time to start talking about the things that you need to do if you're going to attend UC Merced in fall 2025. I do recommend that if you have a device near you, you might want to follow along. So if you're on a computer, you might want to pull up a phone or a pad if you have one with you, and vice versa. If not, we will be recording tonight and we will be emailing this out. As Ricky said, there are staff behind the scenes that are ready to answer questions. Although I may get to a lot of your questions, and then some of them we might save because we think everybody might need to hear the answer. So we mark those as we're going to answer this live, and then we'll get to it at the end. But ready? Okay, here we go. All right, so this is my favorite website that you should all get. I mean, not my favorite website in the world, but my favorite UC Merced website for where you are all at in the stage of your admissions process. We put this together quite a few years ago to try and make your next steps as easy as possible. But if you haven't been here yet, I highly recommend pulling it up. The website's at the top. It's admitted.ucmerced.edu. As you can see, there are about 17 steps on this page that you need to complete in order to be ready to successfully start the fall semester in late August. I don't want you to get overwhelmed by seeing 17 steps because they're not all due at once, and I'm going to show you how to do everything tonight. So don't worry. We've got you. And if you didn't check your email yet, you should have already gotten, if you've submitted your SIR, you've probably got May the 4th be with you newsletter over last weekend. So we'll be sending communications like that to you throughout the summer. and doing these webinars each month to help you stay on track and to make sure that you're getting the support that you need. So each of these links, when you get to this page, you can click on them and it'll scroll down to the page for you, and then it's going to expand upon whatever item that is. Also, you'll see on the right, there's a tutorial for using your checklist. I will go over the checklist later on. So in addition to this beautiful website that we have, every student who is admitted to UC Merced has a personalized checklist in their portal. So if you haven't already been in your my use, I know it's not my UC Merced anymore, sorry, in your Connect portal, I highly recommend pulling that up as well while we're going through this. Okay. So right at the top, the way I'm going to do this tonight is I'm going to go through each month and touch a little bit on each item that people need to be taking care of each month. So I'll go through May all the way through August when you actually arrive on campus. And then I'm going to go into the checklist a little deeper and how to use the checklist. I'm going to do a little bit deeper information about placement exams because many of our first years have a lot of questions about placement exams right now. And then I'm also going to dig a little bit into financial aid. So hopefully we're going to get you the tools that you need tonight to start making your next steps. All right, back to what I said before, which is if you haven't done so already, you need to log into your student portal. Your Connect account is your student portal at UC Merced. That's where you're going to view your conditions of admissions and say, yes, I want to come to UC Merced. That's where you should see your financial aid offer. If you have been admitted to UC Merced and you've completed a FAFSA or a CATA, you will already have a financial aid offer in there. If you do not see a financial aid offer in your Connect portal, you need to follow up with us tomorrow because it should already be there. Typically, that's an indication that we either need something from you or you didn't add our school code. So everybody, if you've taken those two steps, you've been admitted and you've completed either a FAFSA or a CATA, you should have a financial aid offer in your Connect portal. Your Connect portal is also where you're going to see your checklist. And right now on your checklist, you will see new student orientation registration. So if you have submitted your SIR, you will have more things on your checklist than a student who has not submitted their SIR. If you have not submitted your SIR, you're not going to see new student orientation registration as a checklist item because we're not going to ask you to register for orientation if you're not coming here. I hope that makes sense. From the moment that you submit your SIR, it takes about 24 hours for your portal to kind of reset. It goes from you're an admitted student to now you're a UC Merced student, and then it starts displaying more information to you. So if you submit your SIR tonight, tomorrow you'll see more items pop up on your checklist. All right, another item that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have questions about is health insurance. The University of California, not just Merced, all 9 undergraduate campuses require students to carry major medical coverage. This is not your ability to use the student health center on your campus. This is major medical coverage that could be used at emergency room, urgent care, a primary care physician off campus. Let's say you need to go get x-rays, something like that. Many of you may have your own insurance, either through your family, through your own line of work. Some of you may have Medi-Cal. And so we do have a waiver for those students. There is some criteria that you need to meet in order to be able to waive out. And if anybody has specific questions about that, we can drop the link for you to show you where you can go kind of read about that criteria. But you can also go in and start answering the waiver questions, and then it'll let you know if you're denied or approved. If you're denied and you feel like you need to appeal, there is a process for that as well. And I'll go over when the deadline for that takes place. But that's also currently open and is displaying on checklists for students who have submitted their SIR. All right. May 1st has already passed, and that was our priority deadline for first years to submit their statement of intent to register. We have extended that deadline for a little bit, but that doesn't mean that all the other deadlines have extended. So that's why we kind of call it a priority deadline. So I'm going to go over a few items right now that if you're considering coming to UC Merced and you haven't already CERD, you need to keep this information in mind. So, first of all, I talked about the newsletter already, but some of you may have something on your checklist called a statement of legal residence. That is the questionnaire that we use to determine if you qualify for in-state tuition or not. If you have that on there, you need to start filling that out sooner rather than later. The priority deadline for that is May 5th. Now, let's say you submit your SAR on May 7th and May 5th has already passed. We're still going to let you submit that SLR. It's not going to be a no-go, but it is going to take us a little bit of time to get back to you. The other important item that is actually tonight is signing your housing contract. So if you have submitted your SIR and you want to live on campus, first of all, students are not required to live on campus, but if you want to live on campus, you need to have submitted your housing application already. And by midnight tonight, you need to sign your housing contract. We can only guarantee spaces for students who meet that timeline. And I'm not saying definitively that there won't be spaces, we just can't guarantee it. So if you have submitted your application, you should be getting an email or logging back in and checking your housing application to make sure that you're signing your contract as well. And then May 15th is when your placement exams are due. There are 4 placement exams that could show up on your checklist, and they show up on your checklist based off of your current major. So some of them are required for certain majors and some of them are not. And again, I will dig into that a little deeper later on. But if you have placement exams on your checklist, they're online exams. You click on them, you take them online, and you need to take them. There are some exemptions, and I'll go over those in a little bit. Let's see. So that's May. Let's get into June. June is when a lot of our deadlines start popping up for our transfer students. So if you're a transfer student and you're on this webinar tonight, your ears might start perking up a little bit. The priority deadline for transfer students to submit their statement of intent to register is June 1st. There's a lot of things that happen on June 1st, but that's a big deadline for our transfer students. First year students, you all have the opportunity to change your major before you enter UC Merced, and the priority deadline for that is June 1st. Transfer students, you do not change your major using that form. Transfer students are admitted into the major that they applied. So if there's any transfer students on here who think they want to change their major, you need to be talking to your academic advisor now to find out if that's possible. First year students, there isn't an approval process. You just fill that form out and we will move you to that major. Let's see, another really big one on June 1st is financial aid documents. Some of you may have been selected for a process called verification through the financial aid process. And if that is the case, there are going to be additional documents listed on your checklist that we're going to need from you. And most of them are going to be due June 1st. Now, if you get selected for verification on May 29th, your deadline is not going to be June 1st. We're not evil like that. We are going to give you extra time to get that in, but most of you will have that June 1st deadline. And when I get into the checklist later, I'll show you where you can see what your deadlines are. The other item that's happening on June 1st is housing accommodations. So if you are someone who maybe has a physical disability and needs a certain type of room, you need to sign up with our Student Accessibility Services Office and fill out a housing accommodation form. All right, transfer students who are required to submit their statement of legal residence, that is due on June 5th. And then transfer students start getting that same kind of timeline for their housing applications as well. So you can see June 6th, they've got an application deadline if they want to live on campus. And then June 7th is the date that they need to sign their contract. That's all done through your housing portal, which you get to through your Connect portal that we were talking about earlier. And then also in June, another newsletter is going to come out and it's going to, again, remind you of all of these things. It's going to help you get connected to campus. It's going to give you some resources and get you connected with us in case you do have more questions. June 9th is the priority deadline for students to have registered for orientation. So this is particularly important this year, and I will go over that in about 4 more dates. It's very exciting, so hang tight. Then on June 10th, there is a pre-orientation online little experience that we'll need you to do. And it becomes available on the 10th, and you have a little bit of time to take care of it. It's not too long, easy peasy, but we'll prepare you for what's going to happen on orientation and make sure that you're ready to fully participate in that day. All right. In mid-June, this is when everybody starts to get to go back. If you're living on housing, everybody starts to get to go back into their housing application, and you actually get to start participating in roommate selection and room selection. Some of you may be going to school with a friend and you know you want a room together. Some of you might have met somebody like at Bobcat Day and you know you want a room together. If that's the case, then you're going to find each other in this housing portal that we have, and you're going to list each other as you want to be roommates, and then the system can match you up. If you don't have someone that you want to room with, you don't have to do that step. We will assign roommates for you. Part of going through the housing application process is answering questions about, do you stay up late? Do you like to sleep in? Do you like loud music? Are you more of a quiet person? And so the system tries to match you up with people that have kind of similar lifestyles so that it's a harmonious room environment. And then later on in June, then you actually get to have an opinion on which room you're in. I can't guarantee you're going to get the specific room that you pick, but you do have the opportunity to go in and say, this is my preferred room and my preferred building. We did have a housing webinar, I think it was last week, and the recording should be available online that can give you a little bit more information on all this. And if anybody needs the link to that, we can go look for it. And then, like I said earlier, there is monthly webinars. The webinar in June will actually, again, go into more detail on financial aid. It'll go into more detail about registration. It'll go into more detail about billing. It's a really good time to make sure that you're not missing the webinars. And then now for the big news. June 23rd through June 27th is when students are going to register in classes. Everybody will be assigned a registration time, and it will work differently for different populations. So I'm going to start with transfer students because they're a quick, easy one. So transfer students, your academic advisor may have already been reaching out to you and talking to you about coursework you've already completed, double checking a few things. And what they're doing behind the scenes is they're putting together what classes you need to take. You're going to get an email right before June 23rd that's going to tell you this is what your advisor recommends that you register in. First year students, if you I got to go back through them. What are they again? Okay, so if you sign up for orientation registration by June 9th, you complete your required placement exams by the 15th. And then I think there's one more. Let me go back. Nope, that's it. Those two things. Then we are going to basically take the guesswork out of registration for you, and we're going to put you into what we call our Smart Start program, which is we are going to pre-enroll you in about 8 to 12 units. And these will be units that will be appropriate for your major and get you on the right path. Now, We are not saying that you have to stay in these classes. During that week of June 23rd to June 27th, everybody has a registration appointment time. And when your appointment time opens up, you can go in and add and drop to your heart's content. So you can move around times, you can add more units. So a full-time course load is 12 units, so you are required to be in 12 units. We recommend that you are in 16 each semester. So if we only put you in 12, you might want to go add another class. If we only put you in 8, then you definitely need to add another class. And you will get communications from us that will give you instructions about that. There are a couple of students that we're not going to be able to do this for. One of them is our student athletes, and that's because you all have a practice schedule that we don't know, and we don't want to enroll you in classes that's going to conflict with that. But you should probably be getting outreach from your new coach that will kind of be guiding you through this and getting you kind of taken care of on that path. First year students who don't meet those other deadlines, so if you miss the placement exams or you don't register for orientation, you will be registering on your own. Now, we're not going to just turn you loose and say, figure it out. We are going to be sending you emails and videos that will get you started on this registration process. In fact, the newsletter that, for those of you who have submitted your SIR, the newsletter that you got on May the 4th did have the first in a series of 6 registration videos. And we can drop the link for those in chat, but we recommend that you start watching these. They're very short. That's why there's 6 of them, because we tried to make them not too long. We want you to go watch them in order to understand what it means to register in classes as a college student. And information is applicable to both first year and transfer students. It's going to teach you about tools that we offer at UC Merced. For example, My Degree Path is one of them. Your My Degree Path is basically your online kind of degree tracker. It's a really cool tool. It's got a pie chart at the top. And as you start completing things for your major, your pie will turn green. And it'll show you like red for the ones you haven't completed. And then it's got even more detail underneath it. It also has a planner tool in it, and our videos go over that as well. So I recommend that you start watching those videos. Okay, one last thing in June, because I need to get a drink of water real quick. But in June, on the 24th, is when you all will get access to Handshake. And many of you may be saying, what is Handshake? Handshake is our on-campus job tool. So if you were awarded work study, or even if you weren't awarded work study and you're just interested in working on campus, this is the tool that you're going to use to go and search for and apply for jobs. The 24th, like I said, of June is when you will get access to that tool. Okay, I'm going to take a quick drink of water, and I'm going to leave this up in case anybody wants to take screenshots real quick. But remember, I did say we're going to email this out. All right, are we ready to move on to the next months? So there's 2 months left, and they got much shorter. So our big months are May and June, and then July and August calms down a little bit. July, though, is very important. It's when you're going to come for orientation. There, I think, are 10 different dates for orientation. So you get to go in and choose which date you want. Now, some dates may fill up. So again, the sooner you register for orientation, the more opportunity for selection you're going to have. And June 9th is the day that you must register for orientation by. On July 1st, that's when final official transcripts are due. Some of you may be submitting unofficial transcripts right now, or official transcripts that are in progress. We may have asked for those from you, especially if you're a transfer student, but many people we haven't asked for these from. What we want from you is your final official transcripts that has final grades in them. I highly recommend that you all go in and place that order tomorrow or Monday or tomorrow, whatever day you want to do it, but do it before you leave your school for the summer. Otherwise, you're going to forget about it, and then you're going to be in a panic trying to get a hold of someone to order your transcripts. So don't miss that opportunity. But the key is when you go in and order them, make sure that there should be like a little box or something where you're saying you want them to be final. So have final grades. You don't want an in progress transcript. Um, then also in July is move-in times for housing open. Again, you get to choose. There are, I can't remember how many days, 3 or 4 days for move-in, and they take place in August. And you are going to sign up for a day and a time slot. It's hot in Merced in the summer. So my hot tip for you is I would pick a morning time slot if I was you. There will be people there to help with move-in, and there will be carts as well. But I do recommend those morning hours or morning move-in time slots if you can get one. I mean, it's not the end of the world if you can't. I prefer cooler weather. All right, another newsletter is going to come out in July, and another webinar is going to take place in July. And then on the 15th, if anybody took official tests, AP tests, IB tests, we need those official test scores no later than the 15th. If you have already taken these exams and your test scores are available, go in and order them now and have those sent to us now. So some of you may have been asking or thinking earlier, hey, I took an AP course or test that should make it so I don't have to take, let's say, the chemistry exam. Well, we don't know that unless we have your official scores. So that's why I'm saying if you've already taken them, get those into us sooner rather than later. And then another important item in July is the health insurance waiver closes on July 28th. They are sticklers on that deadline, so do not miss that deadline if you plan to fill out a waiver. Okay, August, short and simple, but that's because school starts in August and you're going to move in August. Again, you're going to get a newsletter. We're going to do another webinar, and that webinar is going to have more details about housing move-in in it, and so will the newsletter. But a really big important item is that your fees are due on the 20th. And in a couple of slides, I'm going to show you how you can get your crystal ball out and start predicting what your bill is going to look like in August so that you're well prepared for it. But don't miss that deadline. That's an important one as well. Then it's time to move in after that. Classes start on the 27th, and then immunizations are also due on the 27th. Immunizations that are required will show up on your checklist. They should show up any day now if you have submitted your SIR. Okay, one other thing before I get off this slide, the little icons down at the bottom on the right, see the red box around the email? That is a screenshot that we took from our Connect, so the student portal. So your UC Merced email is in there. You need to start using that now. So if you haven't gone into Connect, go into Connect, check your email, check your checklist, and start familiarizing yourself with that tool. All right, I'm going to pause again real quick, and then we're going to get into the checklist next. Ready? Okay. This is a screenshot of what a potential student's checklist could look like. Again, everybody's is different. So what you see up here is probably not what yours looks like. It's easy to follow, or we hope it's easy to follow. The items that are in the incomplete section, so they have red X's, that means you haven't done them and you need to do them. They are required. Once they are done and complete, they will move down into the completed items and they will be checked off. Some items that you submit to us might get kicked back. So let's say that you submit a document and it's missing a signature on it or something else. It could go back to your red section and it'll show up as incomplete. And then we'll send you an email letting you know what other information we may need from you. Okay, like I said earlier, the deadline column is over on the far right. And so you do need to be paying attention to those deadlines. Earlier, I said that your placement exams are due May 15th. May 15th is correct. May 31st was displaying, but it is getting updated to May 15th. So we need people to go in and start taking those placement exams now. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick. Let me make sure that I didn't miss anything on this slide. So, real quick. So each item that's on your checklist, these blue kind of items right here, you can click on them and they will take you to a page with more information. So it's either going to take you to a page that you can read more about it, or it's going to take you to the page where you're going to actually do the thing we need you to do. If anybody needs help with their checklist, contact the Student First Center. We'll walk you right through it. Okay. I'm going to exit out of the slideshow real quick. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to a website and I'm going to dig into placement exams a little bit. Okay. So I'm on that page that I talked about earlier, the admitted.ucmerced.edu. I clicked on next steps and then it brought me to this page. We are all going to click on fall 25. And then complete placement exams is down here, number 6. So like I said earlier, UC Merced has 4 placement exams. Not everybody is required to take all 4. Some people may not need to take any. So the first one is our writing placement exam. This is a readiness exam. So it is a exam that you're going to take that's going to help you determine whether you need to take writing 1 or writing 10 your first semester. Every single one of these placement exam sections at the end has a link that says more information here. Here's the placement exam page. So for example, I'll click on the computer science and engineering one and more information comes up. So it says that all incoming students desiring to major in computer science and engineering and applied mathematics with a computer science emphasis are required to take the CSE placement exam. And then right here, it tells you how to access the placement exam. And then there's also all of them have a frequently asked questions over here. So for those of you who might have taken an AP, an IB, or college courses, this section will answer, well, what if I took that? Do I need to take it? So for the CSE one, it says, regardless of having AP scores, all students are required to take the CSE placement exam. And that's, again, it's not all students, it's the students who meet this criteria right up here. Okay, so that's CSE. So let's go back and we'll look at chemistry. Oops, there we go. So chemistry, same thing. It says right here, all first year science, engineering, and pre-health majors must take the chemistry exam. It's set up very similarly. More information is right here. So I'm going to click on it. And then again, it's set up the same. It's got a frequently asked questions right here. And it again talks about AP scores, IB scores, and college courses. So basically what you need to do is you need to come to this page and read through each one and then help yourself determine which exams you need to take. Like I said earlier, they are currently populated on your checklist if you have submitted your SIR based on the major you have currently declared with us and the information that we currently have. If you are planning to change your major and submit, let's say, an AP score, then you need to come in here and read these to help kind of do a self-help on which exams you need to take. Okay, I'm going to pause real quick and let people screenshot if they need to. And again, get your questions in the chat. But I'm going to jump out of placement exams now. And I'm going to go back into our PowerPoint. And now we're going to move into a little bit of information about financial aid and billing. Okay, This is called your direct cost worksheet. Don't let that term scare you. It's just a fancy way of helping you understand what your bill is actually going to look like. So, the way financial aid is awarded is we use something called a cost of attendance. And so, some of you might have seen this big number. It's like about 43,000, I think, if you're living on campus for the year. That's like the sticker price of attending UC Merced. The actual price is your direct cost, and this tool will help you easily figure out what your direct cost is. Everybody has access to this tool. It's available under login. So you'll have to authenticate to get into here. It's your same login for your portal. And I'm going to ask someone from the team to drop the link to this in chat. And so if anybody wants to log in and follow along, feel free. But I'm going to quickly go over what you're seeing on here. Section A is at the top. Section A is where you're going to see basically your potential charges. And the way it's set up is you see charges for your fall semester, spring semester, and then the academic year, which is the combined. So UC Merced is a semester school. We bill by semester. So this student right here has fees and tuition populated and health insurance populated. This student is not planning on living on campus. That's why there's a 0. And this student is a California resident. That's why there's nothing populated on line 2. If this item is populated for you and you are really sure you're going to meet in-state tuition, you could 0 that out and hit enter, and then it will adjust those costs for you. Okay, down here in section B is where you're going to see any grant or gift aid, basically like free money that we have given to you or that you like got from an outside scholarship and have told us about. So this student got a Bobcat grant, a health insurance grant, a Cal grant, a Pell grant, and then it totaled them all up for them right here. Section C is any loans that you have accepted. At this time, nobody has the ability to accept loans, so this is going to be 0 for everybody. You can't start accepting or declining loans until after July 1st. So we're giving you this information really early so you can start thinking about and planning ahead on whether or not you are going to borrow loans. This student down at the bottom has a green number and it's negative. And that's because this student's charges are less than the gift aid that they're receiving. So we owe them a refund. And then that refund could then be used to help them cover off-campus living expenses. This is an interactive tool. So many of you, if you are planning on living on campus, your number is probably red down here. And that's okay. That's typical. What you could start doing then is plugging in your loans down here to figure out how much you might want to consider borrowing. So many of you, if you're a first year student, might have been offered this first loan right here, which is your subsidized loan. It may be in the amount of $3,500 for the year. So if I was a student like that and I had a red number down here and I wanted to start figuring out if I wanted to borrow loans, I could come down here and divide 3,500 in 2, which is 1,750. I would type 1,750 in this box, 1,750 in this box, 3,500 in this box, hit return or enter, and then it's going to auto adjust this number down here for me. Some of you, that might be all you need to borrow. Maybe it got your costs down to something that's manageable for you to pay out of pocket. Maybe it got your costs down to something that you'd be comfortable breaking into a payment plan, because we also offer a payment plan. Some of you, that might not have been enough, and so you might want to start plugging in either of these other 2 loans that you might have as well. I'll give you another tip. We have ordered these loans in the order that we recommend taking them. And you'll see we've written things here like best option, and here's why. This is the second best option, and here's why. So we've tried to make this as easy and as seamless as possible for you. If anybody pulls this up and this crystal ball is still confusing to you, please reach out to us. We are happy to set up a Zoom appointment. We're happy to talk with you over the phone. We are ready to answer questions about this so you're not caught off guard in August. Okay, I'm going to move off of this and this is the conclusion of me talking at you because I've talked a lot, and we're going to get into live question and answer. But in case you didn't have our contact information, this is how you get a hold of the Students First Center. Like I said, we do have phones. You can come in person. We have chat. We have email. You can set up a Zoom appointment. You can basically interact with us in whichever way you are comfortable. Okay, I am going to end there and we're going to jump into the live Q&A.
Sounds good. Fantastic job as always, Lisa. And let's go ahead and take a look. I know we've had some fast fingers behind the scenes that are getting to most, if not all of these questions, but I would like to still go ahead and toss out a couple to you, Lisa, so that way we can get everyone the same information just in case others have the same question. So let's take a look and see what we have. Okay, so does the SLR pop up if you are a California native?
So if you're a California native, you're probably a resident. However, we populate that information based off of information you listed on your admissions application. So some of you may not have put enough information on your admissions application for the tool to know that you're a California resident, and so we may have populated it for you. Just fill it out. It's pretty basic information. It's going to ask, are you going to graduate from a California high school? How long have you lived in California? It's going to ask you just real basic questions like that. If somebody is seeing that they are classified as a non-resident and that's not on their checklist, and you want to be evaluated for residency purposes, contact us and we will get that added to your checklist for you.
Very good. Now, can folks still apply for FAFSA or is it too late?
Yes, you can. There is some types of aid that you may not be eligible for. So, like the Cal Grant deadline has already passed, but that doesn't mean that you won't qualify for other aid. So, fill it out. Let us tell you what you're eligible for, and then we'll have a conversation about what we need to do next.
So let's see. Next question up. Can we talk about study abroad? Is that available for first year, second year students?
Ooh, you know what? That's a great question. We do have study abroad. All the UCs have it. I don't know if it's available to first year, so I am going to explore that with you really quick. Let's pull up the web again. So you saw what I did there. I just Googled UC Merced study abroad, and I got to this site. It's mystudyabroad.ucmerced.edu. There are a number of ways that you can explore what's available. So this search and explore section, you can look it up by country. You can look it up by area of interest. You can put in all kinds of different parameters to start exploring what's available for you out there, and there is a ton. There is financial aid available for students who participate in UC approved study abroad programs. And we do have an Office of International Affairs where we have expert advisors that can guide you through this whole process.
Excellent. And can we talk about Handshake? So when we do mention to them a certain day that they do gain access to that, what are they actually getting access to when we talk about Handshake?
Yeah, so I was not a student at UC Merced, so I have not used Handshake myself. But what I understand is it's an online resource where you're going to upload your resume and a cover letter, and you do a job search in there, just like you would on kind of any other tool out there where you're looking for jobs. You can put in parameters and it will help match you with jobs. It'll send you like an email digest of things that match your parameters. But it's UC Merced jobs. So it's not jobs out in the community. There's going to be two categories. So there's one that's a work study category and then one that's a non-work study category. If you were awarded work study, you can choose from either of them. If you were not awarded work study, you can only select from the ones that are non-work study jobs. And at UC Merced, we have a lot of both.
Very good. Can we share a little more info about orientation? How do people get registered and what can they anticipate in learning or experiencing on those days?
Yeah. So in your checklist, if you have submitted your SIR, there is an item right there that says orientation registration. You're just going to click on it. It's going to take you to an online platform and you're going to register. It's a day-long experience for both the student and the families. Families are not required to attend. We do recommend it. Students are required to attend. There's going to be workshops throughout the day where you're going to learn about a lot of the stuff that I kind of went over today, but more in depth. They're going to go over kind of codes of conduct and study habits and more kind of academic resources on campus. You're going to meet other students. There's a lot of engaging activities where you'll get to know your community more and just be a little bit more connected and more prepared for your transition to living in Merced, basically.
Perfect. Now, I do also see a couple of consistent questions coming in about the deadline for placement exams. It looks like we're talking about May 15th, but the checklist might be giving a different date.
That is correct. Remember when I pulled it up, it was showing May 31st. We are updating that. It is May 15th. So the placement exams, this is a tip. The placement exams are not going to close after the 15th. So if you miss that date, you can still take them. But if you are a first year student and you want to be part of that Smart Start registration experience, you have to get your placement exams done by May 15th. If you miss May 15th, we cannot enroll you in Smart Start. And Smart Start was that new registration experience that I was talking about, where we're going to enroll you in core classes. So it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of what do I take this first semester? We're going to do that work for you, basically. So May 15th, get those placement exams done if you want to be part of Smart Start.
Excellent. Now, for folks who are going to be living in on-campus housing, when do they have to pay that bill?
Oh, so we work with one bill here at UC Merced, so everything is combined together. So your tuition, your fees, your housing, your food, it's all one bill. And I have to go back to my PowerPoint to remember what day it was. Hang on really quick. It is 8/20, August 20th. And so you either need to have it, if you're paying with your own money, you need to pay it that day. If you are planning on enrolling in a payment plan, you need to have your first payment done. If you're planning on borrowing loans by then, you need to have your loans taken care of. Another good tip is that loans are not an automatic apply to your bill type of aid. There's a few more steps that go along with loans. And if you accept a loan, those steps will pop up on your checklist. I recommend getting those steps taken care of by August 1st so that there's enough time for your loans to come in. And remember, I said that July 1st is when you can start making decisions about loans. I recommend having all those decisions and steps done by August 1st. And the other cool thing that happens in July is that you're going to come for orientation. And so if you want to come in and meet with us about loans and getting help, that's also something you can do at orientation.
Perfect. And now, do we consider 12 units to be full-time or 16?
12 is full time, but we recommend 16 in order to graduate in 4 years. So you will not technically become a sophomore. So if you're coming in as a first year and you're not bringing in any units with you, you will not become a sophomore until you hit 30 units. So if you're only taking 12 a semester, you're only going to have 24 at the end of the spring semester. Now, there's other ways to make that up. You could take summer session. You might be taking coursework right now that you're going to bring in with you. Everybody is a little different, but we do recommend that you take 16. Now, some of you might need a little extra time to, like I'm not sure what college coursework is going to be like. And so my first semester, I only want to take 12. That is totally fine. Maybe your second semester you take 16 and then maybe you take a summer school class. There's lots of ways to kind of plan out so that you get to that 30 units by the end of the year.
Perfect. And now, can we also share info about the deferred payment plan?
Yes. We can drop a link over in chat for you, but basically, whatever is left over on your bill to pay, so after your financial aid has come in, or if you're not getting any financial aid, it basically divides that bill into four equal payments. Easy peasy.
Awesome. And then also a couple of other deadlines we did touch on. Can we share again just a reminder of when test scores are due and when transcripts are due?
Yes. Transcripts, July 1st. Test scores July 15th. And all of this is on that admitted student website that I told you about as well. And all these things that are required, they're all going to populate in your checklist after you submit your SIR, and those deadlines are going to be right there too.
Couple more questions. Let's see. Or actually, can you explain what the newsletter is again and what is included in those?
Yeah. So the newsletters go out once you have submitted your SIR because they're filled with all this information that I just went over tonight in more detail. And then there's kind of other fun things in there. So the goal of the newsletters is so that we're not sending you a million emails. We're condensed it into a newsletter that's very pretty and much easier to read. It's going to have reminders about dates and deadlines in it. It's going to talk about fun things on campus, so helping you get connected with resources and fun things to do in your new community. It's going to have information about academics in it. So each month is different based on what's happening that month and where you kind of need to be at in the process. So, like, for example, this first one really focuses on next steps and starting to prepare to think about course registration, whereas the one in August is going to focus heavily on like move in, fee payment deadline, starting school. So each month they're a little different.
Excellent. And then we have a question coming in here. What is the significance of being classified as a sophomore versus a first year or freshman?
Okay. So each year that you kind of go up, so first year is your first year at UC Merced. Once you hit 30 units, you become a sophomore, which is your second year. 30, 60, so 60 units makes you a junior. And then 90, right? 30, 60, 90 makes you a senior. Most degrees require 120 units to graduate. One of the things that we didn't go over tonight is the catalog. So we can actually, I'll just pull up the catalog really quick because I do think this is a very useful tool for people to see. Okay. Chris, thank you. He is already on it. He dropped the link over in chat. This is kind of your guide to UC Merced. So every university has a catalog. This one's ours. But what's super interesting that you might want to go start looking at is whatever degree you're interested in, you can find everything you need to know about that degree in here. So I'm going to choose engineering. I'm going to click over here, School of Engineering. And then it's going to list out here are all the majors in engineering. Let's see, today I want to be an electrical engineer. So if I click on that, it's going to tell me everything I need to know about this major. And then here are the different types of degrees because there's some emphasis that you can have with this one. I'm just going to do electrical engineering, a Bachelor of Science. And once I click on it, it gives me a sample plan right here of what it might look like to actually achieve this degree at UC Merced. But you'll see, remember we were talking about the units. So this degree requires 50 lower division units, and it tells you how they're all broken up. It requires 33 upper division units. It requires 16 units of an elective. And I think that's it. So if you click on this right here, this 4-year course plan, it'll show you kind of a roadmap of what it might look like. Now, not everybody follows these roadmaps. Some of you may have already taken an equivalent of Chem 2. So maybe you're going to go straight into whatever's next in that sequence. But all of these, so here, I'll do another example. I'm going to click on School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts, and I'm going to choose anthropology. Well, no, I'm going to choose history because that's what I actually got my bachelor's in. So we're going to go with history. And then again, it tells me everything about it. I can either get a history bachelor or a history minor, but we're talking about 4-year degrees right now. So we're going to go with the Bachelor of Arts in History. No, it slowed down. Oh no. Okay. And then right at the top again is that sample 4-year course plan. So I could come here and see what it might look like for me to get a degree in history at UC Merced. And then see down here, I was right. It's 120 units necessary for graduation. Good question.
Definitely. All right, so we have time for one more, and I can actually answer this one. Everyone's asking, will this recording be made available somewhere? And I have already dropped over into the chat box the link where you can find other upcoming webinars, as well as all of the on-demand instant replays. So go ahead and bookmark that page and hop back over there whenever you're ready, either to register for the one coming up in June and everything moving forward from there, or to watch this one as an on-demand instant replay. I love all the hearts that are coming through. That is so special. Thank you, guys. All right, so Lisa, I'll go ahead and give you a moment to go ahead and give some last words to wrap us up.
Like I said earlier, we are here to help. And so, all of the fabulous people who were behind the scenes, furiously typing away with all of you tonight, are members of our Students First Center team. They are an amazing group of staff, very kind and caring, and we are here to help answer these questions. So, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We have staff that speak multiple different languages. So if there's a language that you're more comfortable in, it's likely that one of us might speak that. So please reach out. I think that's my biggest tip is, well, 2 tips. Get into your portal if you haven't done that yet, and then reach out and talk to us if you have questions or if you just want to meet us. We're happy to do that too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you to everyone behind the scenes. And the biggest thank you of all is to everyone who has taken some time out of your evening to join us here for another fun virtual event. My name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. It's always such a blast to be here with all of you. I hope to see you again very soon on a future upcoming event. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.